give those little lollipop.
Virtual assistant? Who can open a DigiBank account?
All Indian residents, they need to have an India registered mobile phone number, address and a compatible smartphone too.
How do I open an account?
Simply download the app and register yourself to get started.
Do I need to maintain a minimum balance? What documents do I need to open a savings account?
Is there a fee to transfer funds to another account?
Can you find transactions under 400 rupees in my savings account?
I found 110 in one post transaction that matched in the last 45 days. Here they are.
Glass is half full. Like, amazing.
I'd like to go to this bank.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sonia Wędrychowicz-Horbatowska, and I'm here with you today to share an amazing journey that I had the privilege to participate in to design, implement, and develop a bank. A bank that has been delivered as a mobile application only. A bank that never saw their customers. A bank that did not have any branches. A bank that did not have a contact center. We didn't have a number that the customers could call us on. We didn't have operations. And yet a bank that during less than 2 years of operations has acquired more than 2.5 million customers, and it's still acquiring 5,000 to 6,000 customers per day. And a bank that back in 2016 has been awarded a very prestigious award by Euromoney to be the best digital bank in the world. And that bank is DigiBank by DBS, that myself with a team of 10 people, I managed to develop and implement in 8 months. And my presentation today is a little bit about of how we have done it and what were the principles that were guiding us during the journey. So the first thing that we understood when we started the journey with Digital Bank is that in the last couple of years, the way people and our customers communicate, commute, and consume has changed dramatically and is delivered increasingly using digital channels. And for us banks, not only to succeed, but barely to survive in the new space, we need to change. We need to deliver our solutions using technology. And banks are still around, but they had to change. They had to reimagine themselves. The Bill Gates words that he said back in 1994, that people need banking, but they do not need banks, are probably never more relevant than they were now, than they were in the past. So the way that the banks had to change was to start thinking rather than from inside out, from inside the conference rooms and our offices, to start thinking from outside in. And outside in, meaning looking at the solutions through the customer eyes. And what it means is to deliver the customer solutions hassle-free. Simplicity, speed, and convenience is the new name of the game. And believe me, our customers, when they wake up in the morning, they do not dream of going to the bank, being stuck in the traffic, trying to find a parking place, and finally reach a branch, stand in a queue, try to fill in an application form, and then finally waste 1 to 2 hours and get what they need. What they want is they want the banking to be embedded in their daily journeys. Research shows that 80% of our daily activities are finishing with a financial transaction. And when you think about that, the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to sleep, majority of the activities, including asking for a taxi, having a coffee before you start working, then lunch, and so on and so forth, are finishing with a form of a financial transaction. What is important is make sure that people do not feel that they are actually making a financial transaction. A good example of that is Uber. I'm a big fan and a big user of Uber, and I must tell you, when I try to get a taxi, I always think of moving from place A to B rather than paying for the trip. So currently, when I take a normal taxi, it happens to me that I just leave the taxi and I go, and the taxi driver is chasing me and saying, oh, you need to pay, because I got used that the financial transactions got so seamless that I don't even see that. But the most important thing to succeed in the digital transformation is the people and the culture. I always say that we need to forget all the ways that we were doing things in the past and start thinking like a startup. And many people say that startup is a small company with a small number of people. So how to implement the startup culture in a big organization? In our case, DBS had 25,000 employees. So at the beginning, we thought, well, maybe it's impossible. But then we realized that Google has 85,000 employees. So it is possible. The other thing that we realized is that today, we have a very limited interactions with our customers. The customer needs to come to us. And what I mean by coming to us is not basically going to the branch, but also calling the contact center, going into the internet application and opening our mobile application. It's still the customer needs to take a certain effort in order to come to the bank. While these days, majority of the time that we spend, and I see some of the people in the room here also being in the virtual space right now, that rather than being here and now, we are spending most of our time these days in a virtual space. So the idea that was guiding us through our implementation process is we wanted to be there where the customers were, within the mobile applications and the internet sites where they were spending majority of the time. Another very important consideration of today is start thinking about competitors in a different way. Other banks are no longer the competitors of the banks. These are the new entrants to the markets that are invading the space that has been given and has been occupied by the banks for the last 700 years. And these are the Alibabas, Google, and Facebooks of this world. They're not giving an excellent customer experience, but more importantly, they're actually entering into the payments, wealth management, and other areas that were always being the domain of the banks. So we should look at them and get inspired by them rather than looking what the other banks are doing. Why those new entrants are succeeded in the new space? In order to explain that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the theory of the brain. People say that we've got two parts of the brain, left part and the right part, and they are very different. The left part of the brain is all about analyzing experience and thinking. It's all about the past and all about hoping that analyzing the past will give us the answers for the future. And there is a reason why it's black and white on my slide, because it's basically quite boring. Strangely enough, the attributes of the left part of the brain have been historically attributed to the banks, because banks have, for 700 years, have been all about trust, security, risk management, and the whole expertise. But they really never did, although they talked a lot, the customer experience part. The right part of the brain is just the opposite of the left part of the brain. It's all about creativity, colors, emotions. It's all about creating positive feelings while interacting with the application, a person, or a piece of art. And the right part of the brain attributes have been seen to be prevailing in the solutions that are delivered by the new entrants. Client centricity, using analytics to understand the customer behavior and needs in order to provide for solutions. Digital mindset, providing everything driven by technology. Speed, not waiting 8 to 10 months for a solution, do it every day. And then using ecosystem partners is an important part of the new entrant strategy. So the way that we have looked at our solutions is we wanted to combine the left and the right part of the brain, while not forgetting that we are still the bank. We wanted to deliver the solution in the right brain way, making sure that our customers have positive feelings while using our solutions. I'm going to a lot of different conferences and hearing a lot of people talking about digital transformation. A lot of the things that are being done is like a lipstick. And lipstick is something that you put on the face and you believe you are going to be beautiful because of that. It's just on the surface. The moment you take off the lipstick, nothing is left. The same is all the customer-facing solutions that the banks are implementing. Beautiful mobile application, internet applications that go STP, and STP understood not as straight through processing, but straight to people or straight to paper. So what does it mean to be digital to the core? Well, digital to the core means being digital end-to-end, and not digitize the existing processes and make them the same, basically, in the digital world, but rethink them in such a way that they are automated and digital end-to-end, and they are actually reimagined in order to make the customer experience better. It's also about customer journeys, understanding what are the different steps that the customer needs to take in order to complete a transaction. I always tell my people that if there are more than 5 steps, the customers even get bored or they drop off. So it's very important to simplify that. Human-centered design. The other thing that I always say is never ask the customers. Never, ever ask the customers about their opinion. It's one of the most controversial statements of my presentations today. Rather than asking the customers, observe them. Give them a prototype. See how they are getting stuck and where they like what you are giving them. If you ask them the question, they will tell you anything. When you observe them, you really see the reaction. Agile delivery, rather than waiting for the solution 6 to 8 months, and when they come, you see that they're already either overdue, or you don't need them anymore, or they are different than you wanted, go into Agile and go into minimum valuable product, and then see how the customers react to them in 6 to 8 weeks' time, rather than 8 months' time, and then see how it goes. Need for speed. I have quoted Bill Gates at the beginning. I wanted to quote also Einstein. In my opinion, the Einstein relativity theory of time has never been more relevant than it is for the digital space. In digital, these days, 1 day lost of doing nothing is like 1 month, and 1 month lost of saying, oh, I will do it next month, it's like 1 year. This space is moving so fast. Branchless banking. I told you at the beginning that we never saw our customers, yet we were able to do the KYC by using biometrics data in India and Indonesia in order to authenticate our customers. Scalability. You never know how big you can become in the digital space. At the beginning, we had 100 customers, then we had 5,000, 6,000, then 10,000 customers per day. You really need to invest in scalable solutions, automated solutions, in order to be prepared to grow, rather than disappoint your customers when you grow. Customer analytics. I said we never see the customers, but we know about them so much more that we know about those that are coming to the branches or calling our contact center, where you only listen to 1% of the calls. Here, everything is digital, and we can analyze that. Collaborative workspace. People are asking me, this is the beautiful place where I used to work, and it looks nice. Is it necessary? Well, if you do not have the people who are working like a startup and have a different mindset, even the most beautiful workspace would not help. But having the technology and business people and compliance people and operations people sitting together and working together helps, because suddenly they become one team and they are working towards one goal, and that really is helping. Ecosystems. When you have a digital mobile application, you need to have partners in order to survive. You need to have people who are your eyes and ears, and also the arms and the legs for the external world. You need to have people for infrastructure integration. You need to connect to Visa, MasterCard, to the clearinghouse or payment gateway. You also can have fintech startups to consume their API in order to increase and enhance your value proposition. And last but not least, you need ecosystem partners that are going to sell for you. You are no longer selling your products using the agents in the shopping mall. You need to sell them in the digital space, and you need to have partners for that. Well, API helps. Application programming interface is having its new time, although it was implemented 12, 15 years ago. Now it has become the way of integrating between different applications and different technology solutions. So application programming interface is the thing that you need to use in the digital space in order to integrate with your partners. I will give you a couple of examples how consuming other partners' APIs can increase your value proposition. In our case, what you saw at the beginning was people talking to the bot. The bot was the only customer service that we provided to our customers. We didn't have a contact center. It was an external company that provided us with the chatbot. Wiki was the company that provided us with transaction safety that did not require any OTP, any SMS. And then the last but not least, Monitor was the company that has given us the transaction categorization, budgeting, and everything else that was embedded in the application in a way that the customers didn't even see that we had a third party. But then we very soon realized that the mutual partnerships of consuming other APIs is not enough, and we need to go one step further. We need to start exposing our own APIs. That's the whole open banking, a very controversial subject with the PSD2 is coming into play. Well, we realized that the whole internet is becoming a playground. This is the place where our customers are spending most of their time. And it's bigger than any number of branches that we can open, and it's bigger than any size of the contact center, and it's the place where we can be embedded in the customer journeys, like in the way I showed you with the Uber example. So we have provided and we have implemented a portal where we've exposed 179 of our APIs across different customer journeys, and also implemented the sandbox, which is a testing environment for those APIs. And we did it in November last year, and it turned out to be the biggest portal and sandbox in the world, with the biggest number of opportunities for the external partners to start building solutions based on our APIs. There are a lot of different customer journeys that we have implemented for the Open API. You can use Open API for customer acquisition, new product acquisition, for online rewards burning, you name it. All the different product and processes that you have in the bank, they are currently being delivered in an analog form, can be done using the Open API. So sky is the limit, and your imagination is the limit. So if I were to summarize, because my time is almost over, what are the learnings of the digital transformation from the left part of the brain, which I've explained what it means? There are a couple of things. One, you really need to focus on where the real value is, and real value with a couple of things that people are caring about. Our application probably had 10 to 15% of the functionality that other Indian and Indonesian mobile banks had. But still, because we're so unique with our customer experience and the way we delivered the solutions to the customers, we managed to be so successful. Secure strategic partnerships. Without partnerships in the digital space, you are nobody. So go and seek out for ecosystem partners that are going to be your right and left hand. Use digital marketing for acquisition. Don't look for your customers in the shopping malls or in the streets. Your customers are spending majority of the time in the digital space. So look for them in the digital space. Our 5,000 to 6,000 customers per day are being acquired using social marketing, digital marketing, and member-get-member programs. No physical presence at all. And the last but not least, attract the talent and build a multidisciplinary team. And not necessarily you need to bring the people from the startups. Not necessarily you need to get rid of the people that we currently have in the bank. Our team of 10 people had more than 20 years of experience in banking. And yet, you need to have the people who are prepared to think differently and are able to embrace the latest technology, and most importantly, are able to look through the customer eyes. But if you really want to shoot for the stars, the left part of the brain is not enough. As I told you, the left part of the brain is all about thinking and analyzing and doing the right things from the analytical point of view. If you really want to shoot for the stars, you need to use the right part of the brain. And this picture showing myself in my boxing gloves, actually the secret has already been revealed by the person who introduced me. I'm a kickboxer, and I just got my black belt a couple of months ago, and I always say that I would never succeed in the digital transformation if I didn't have my kickboxing skills. It's a joke, of course, but in order to succeed in the digital world, you need to open your mind. But more importantly, you need to open your heart and start feeling like the customers would feel when they start using your solutions. Don't just look at the procedures and processes. Start to think through the customer eyes and start to feel how they feel about you. You are prepared to rock and roll. In our case, when we were doing the digital bank for 8 months and we went live, we're rolling more than rocking. This is a very rocky type of a journey, and you are going to fail more than you are going to succeed. But with each failure, you are going to learn, and you need to stand up and iterate, improve, and move on. To play in a different league, other banks are no longer your competitors. Your competitors are the new entrants to the market. Constantly push boundaries with all the solutions that I told you about. Startups that are 5 months old and have 5 people, and they are being integrated for security in one of the biggest banks in Asia. You can imagine my conversation with compliance. So constantly push boundaries is a very important item on our agenda every day. And last but not least, be prepared to be punched in the face, succeed, and move on. This is not an easy journey, because it's a new journey. There is a lot of pitfalls and traps that you can never think about. And one thing that I also learned from Amazon is that you can learn a lot when you are designing the product, and then testing it with the customers, and then testing you inside the bank. But you really start learning when you go live. So be prepared for surprises, and be prepared to address them very quickly. Thank you very much.